no one actually knows what they're doing. We're all just making it up as we go along. That's the reality. For anyone that is out there that is watching this and you are in business and you are on this journey of life and entrepreneurship, and you're looking at all these people online that seem to have it all figured out, they're just making it up as they go along. They are really articulate in what they're learning. They are knowledge brokers. They are consuming content from their mentors, from people that they follow, and they're finding an edge that they can walk along that is in alignment to who they truly are. But no one actually really truly knows what they're doing. They're just embracing the journey. And I think for me, the element that is missing in a lot of people's lives right now is being present and sitting in the shit. And what I mean by that is everything is not just a task. Everything is not a means to an end. You're working out not just because in the future you're wanting to have the body. You're not then making that sales call or posting that piece of content to be able to get something in the future. You're doing it because the only thing that exists right here, right now is the present moment. And the longer that you are moving away from being present and you're doing things to get somewhere, you get nowhere. But we're all just making up as we go along. I remember when I was a platoon commander, I was 20 when I took over my first platoon as an infantry officer in the Australian Army. And I had no idea what I was doing. I was taught what to do for 18 months at the Royal Military College, Duntroon in Canberra. I had an understanding of military leadership and ethics. I understood what my role and responsibility was. However, there was minimal on-the-job experience as a platoon commander to be a leader of men. So as I continued to progress through, I was then just making it up as I was going along in the confines of my arc of fire in terms of my role and responsibility. So my question that I am always facing at the moment on a daily basis is, what the hell am I doing? I have got a beautiful home. I have this beautiful office that I've now been dreaming of being able to set up so I can film content. I have these aspirations in life to become someone and to become this thing that, for some reason, I think deep down it's because we're all wanting to be seen as someone of value, especially young men in modern society. And so I've always been in this approach since leaving the military to emulate as much as I possibly could as a leader, as what I was in uniform, now out of uniform. And I'll tell you what, it has been a hard journey. It has been a hard journey of reinventing who I am as a man, as a commander, as a warrior, as a leader, without having my troops, without having my soldiers, without having my platoon. 2016 was the life-changing, pivotal moment in my life when I deployed to Iraq, and I experienced what I would suggest would be a rugby league player training his entire life, but not being able to step on the field until he had his first game, and then he's on the field. The overwhelming feeling that I had felt deploying overseas was out of this world. Yet when you're there, you're just making it up as you go along too. You're getting the orders that you receive from your chain of command. You deliver your orders to your platoon and you roll with the punches. So there's this point now where I'm sitting here filming this video after having a mentor session with Tom Noski. And we talked about obligation, but more importantly, the fact that everything works, just like Dan Bolton also says, but you have to find what it is that works for you. And for a long time, I've been someone who's been very active on Instagram, and I would do Instagram stories, and I'd love to talk candidly like this, very open, no scripts, no structure, just talking. And for me, the one thing that I believe that everyone needs to truly get to the bottom of is what works for you. Is it long form YouTube content? Is it a podcast with just audio? Is it written and you have a blog? Is it short form reels? Is it TikTok? What is it for you? But more importantly, understand that because everyone is just making up as they go along and everything works, then there is no restrictions for what you can achieve. You are the only one strong enough to stop you. So if you are up for it and you're willing to suspend your sense of disbelief for a period of time just to start to build the momentum in something, you'll begin to see the results. And for me, that was a big epiphany and this aha moment that I experienced. In the last 24 hours, I've been ruminating on this thought of what does it mean to actually build a personal brand? What does it actually mean to be a leader? What does it actually mean to be a man? And I tell you what, I'm still figuring that out. I think no one truly has it figured out 100%. You have your pursuit back to faith, back to God. You have your pursuit back to what we perceive masculinity is from what we had learnt or been taught during school or in our upbringing with our family. We're consuming content like it's going out of fashion from everyone that has a camera and a microphone. We have this influx of messaging that's being pushed down, top down in society that is encouraging us to think a certain way. And it's becoming very confusing. And in the wake of so much information, it is very difficult to discern on what information you should be consuming. And so my point that I'm wanting to bring across for you for this is that everything works and no one knows what they're doing. They're making up as they go along and they're finding their own way. They're taking a lead in their own life. They're not settling, or majority that are being seen are not settling for a standard less than what they're willing to accept. They're bringing their best and they're talking it through on a channel. They're talking it through with their partner. They're talking it through with their friends. They're doing something because doing something is better than nothing. And I think this is an entry point for me in my own personal journey, my own brand development, to shed some light on the fact that although what you see online is what people want you to see, there's only a handful of people that are willing to actually show you the dark parts of their life, the vulnerable, emotional portions of what it is to be a human, what it is to be a man, what it is to be a leader, an entrepreneur. Because if you truly saw cameras all in this house and in majority of the people that you follow online and how they live their life, you would be gobsmacked by the amount of doubt, the amount of frustration, the amount of confusion, the amount of fear, the amount of resistance, the amount of excuses, the amount of bullshit that we say to ourselves. Yet somehow we still do it anyway. Because there is this turning point, I think, in a lot of creators' lives, a lot of leaders' lives, that eventually you just get sick of your own shit. Eventually you just get over this point where if someone else can do it, I can do it. And I think that's where I'm at. And I think realizing that I've done a lot more than what most men at the age of 31 will ever do in their life. I have experienced things that a lot of men will never be able to experience, and that's not to boast, but it's more to shed light on the fact that you need to remind yourself of what you've done. You need to remind yourself of where you've been. And if you haven't been anywhere or done anything, then this is an invitation for you to fucking go out there and actually do something with your life. You need to do what others won't to get what others never will. And if you're willing to do that and go through that hardship, then your life will completely change. But it won't change unless you're willing to do the work. And it won't change unless you're willing to go through things that most people would never want to go through. Because if you knew the pursuit of your success in life and business, majority of it was going to be a lot of pitfalls and traps and a lot of downturns and a lot of negativity. But then on the back end, it's everything that you've ever wanted. Most people would never want to start the journey. But I encourage you to keep moving forwards. Keep moving, keep taking action, keep blindly moving forwards with faith, and you'll get to where you need to get to. But here's the thing, you already are where you need to be. So embrace it, enjoy it, and live it in its entirety.